connect up our EchoLink server this evening, our repeater to this repeater.
We can go ahead and try if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. I will give it a shot. Yep, I got you checked in. I will go ahead and head over to the EchoLink repeater, mention that we're going to be connecting things up. I'll come back here and make that connection.
Sounds good. K0 KPS.
This is K1DBC, the Denver Radio Club Net, being held on our normal 145.490 repeater. Tonight will also be interlinked with our EchoLink 449.35 repeater. So if anybody is listening out there, just be on the lookout for that here in a moment. This is K1DBC, Net Control. Apologize for a little bit of a late start there. I'm going to go ahead and interlink our EchoLink repeater into this one. So if anybody is interested, you can head over to the 449.35 repeater if you like this evening. And you should hear the same audio that you would hear on 145.490. So if anybody has any needs or wants to try that, you can head over there in just a moment. But in just a second, you should hear a bunch of tones connecting things up.
Node 68834 connected to node 42851.
By your command.
Welcome to Denver. Please ID.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Whiskey Oscar Lima.
This is K1DBC Net Control. There was a Whiskey Oscar Lima call out there. I'm not too sure if you're trying to get into the Denver Radio Club repeater or not, but that's where we can hear you on.
Yep, it was Kilo Foxtrot 0, Whiskey Oscar Lima. I normally talk on a different Denver repeater, but my radio's out of service right now, so.
All right, Jim or James, I got you checked in, and we are having a net at the moment. Sorry about that. If there's any confusion, we're about to start a net. You're more than happy to hang around, though.
Okay, is it on NetLogger per chance? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite familiar with these nets.
I apologize. Is it on what? Repeat that once more.
0TX repeater.
KF0WOL. I was asking if you guys are on NetLogger. logger for the net.
This is K1DBC for KF0WOL. Oh, no, sorry about that. We have our own in-house check-in tool. You can check that out if you like. W0TX.org/check-in. We don't have any self-check-ins, but it's a read-only spreadsheet. W0TX.org/check-in.
Could you repeat that URL, please?
Whiskey 0 Tango X-ray.org, W0TX.org/check-in. All one word, CHECKIN.
Just found it. I'm in. Much appreciated.
All right, sounds good. This is K1DBC Net Control. Yep, our net starts around 8:30, so we'll get things started. This is K1DBC. If anybody is interested, as mentioned just before the net got started, we are now interlinked up to our EchoLink repeater, So you can talk either on 145.490 or 448.625, our normal repeater. Also on AllStar Link. There are Android and iPhone apps, AllStar Link node 42851. And as mentioned, EchoLink, so 449.35, 449.35 for receive, 444.35 for transmit. It's a minus 5 megahertz offset, and again requires the 100 hertz PL tone. You can also check out the EchoLink node 4140 through the EchoLink app as well. So let's get things started here. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control, QST from the Denver Radio Club. Welcome to the Denver Radio Club net being held on repeater W0TX. This is a meeting held on the air every Sunday evening at about 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Good evening. My name is Daron. My call sign is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. I'll be your net control station transmitting from Inglewood, Colorado. If there's any emergency or priority traffic during this net, say break at any pause, and the net will be suspended until the emergency or priority traffic is completed. This net is for, and if anybody can confirm that the EchoLink repeater is actually, things are coming through. I think it is. Let me check here. Yep, it is. Sorry, trying to... Trying to juggle too many things here. My apologies. And if there does come an issue up with the EchoLink, I will disconnect that. This net is for Denver Radio Club members and all interested radio amateurs. We're here to share information concerning any ham-related activities. Regular meetings of the Denver Radio Club are held on the third Wednesday of the month, 7 p.m. These are held online, W0TX.org for more information. They are also hybrid in person. This month will be in person as well at the Lakewood Police Department. Bob Mesenbrink, NB0BN, will be giving a presentation on the Nano VNA. They're also streaming an archive on youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. Third Wednesday of the month, so that's going to be not this week, the week after, the 15th, April 15th. An Elmer session is held at 6 p.m. just prior to our monthly meeting. This session addresses any amateur radio questions you might have. So whether you are new to amateur radio or interested in some new application of amateur radio, this is a session where you can get help. Also, every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m., except the third Wednesday when our monthly meeting is held, there is a learning net held on 145.490 and 448.625. This is another area where you can find answers for your amateur radio-related questions. As mentioned just a few moments ago, if you'd like to check in or follow along with the check-in process, if you'd like, W0TX.org/check-in. Basic info about callers. As a general interest club, we provide emergency communication for the Salvation Army, the City of Wheat Ridge Police Department, the City of Lakewood Police Department, and the West Metro Fire District. We are always looking for members who would like to participate in this support. Please contact our club president if you'd like to help. Our current club president is Kevin Schmidt, Kilo Zero, Kilo Papa Sierra. Kevin's telephone number is 303-475-9234. The Denver Radio Club website address is W0TX.org. Before regular check-ins, I'd like to welcome and invite any visiting radio amateurs. We had, I guess, James, KF0WL, we welcome you there, so thanks for checking in here. Are there any other visiting radio amateurs? During this net and other nets, a 100 Hz PL repeater access tone is required. You can use either 145.490 with a minus 600 kilohertz offset, or 448.625 with a minus 5 megahertz offset. And tonight, for the first time, you can also talk on our EchoLink repeater, 449.350, negative 5 megahertz offset. Again, 100 hertz PL tone is required. Are there any visiting radio amateurs who would like to check into the Denver Radio Club net tonight? Please call now. Next, I'd like to welcome and invite any newly licensed or recently upgraded radio amateurs to check in. Please call now. I will now take regular check-ins in groups. Please let me know if you have traffic when you check in and I'll get back to you. First, radio amateurs whose call suffixes begin with the letters A through E, Alpha through Echo. Let me know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic questions, A through E, please check in now.
Kilowatt 0, Delta Papa Romeo, Paul in Aurora.
N0 ETV, Lance and Aurora.
Kilowatt Delta 0, Charlie Golf Foxtrot, Kenny and Thornton, no traffic.
November Bravo 0, Bravo November, Bob in Arvada.
W0 CIV, W0 Charleston, no traffic.
All right, this is
Echo Bravo, Rich in Littleton. It's K0EB.
AD0AP, Elizabeth in Aurora.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Alpha Whiskey Charlie, Brian Centennial, with traffic.
all right. This is K1DBC Net Control. Hold up there for just a moment.
0TX repeater.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins: K0DPR Paul, N0ETV Lance, KD0CFG Kenny, NB0BN Bob, WD0CIV Charles. There was also a double in there, but you may have called in again as well. We also had Rich, KE0B, Rich Kilo 0 Echo Bravo, and then 8 Alpha Delta 0 Alpha Papa, AD0 AP Elizabeth, and Kilo Foxtrot 0 Alpha Whiskey Charlie Brian with traffic. If you did try to check in and I didn't call your call sign, go ahead and try once more.
Kilo Charlie 0, Charlie Zulu, Robert Thornton. Alpha Foxtrot, Zero Echo, Alex Wilson.
All right, that time we had Kilo Charlie 0 Charlie Zulu Bob and Alpha Fox 0 Echo Alex. Once more, if your call suffix begins with the letters A through E, Alpha through Echo, please call now. All right, we'll move down to the next portion of the alphabet. If your call suffix begins with letters F through J, Foxtrot through Juliet, let me know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic questions, F through J, please call now.
Kilo Charlie 0 Juliet Alpha Victor Frank Denver.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Foxtrot Papa India, Ron in Lakewood with traffic.
All right, that time we had, it was either Frank or Frankie, Kilo Charlie 0 Juliet Alpha Victor. Got you checked in Kilo Foxtrot 0 Foxtrot Papa India. Ron, thank you so much for checking in with traffic. Ron, with traffic. I'll get back to you as well. Again, if your call suffix begins with letters F through J, Foxtrot through Juliet, please call now. All right, next portion of the alphabet. If your call suffix begins with letters K through O, Kilo through Oscar, let me know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, K through O, please call now. All right, I heard a little bit of noise in there, but no name or anything. Kilo through Oscar. If your call suffix begins with the letter K through O, please check in now. All right. If your call suffix begins with the letters P through T, Papa through Tango, let me know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic questions, P through T, please call now.
Whiskey Bravo 2, Sierra Hotel Romeo, Stanton, Denver, no traffic.
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood.
Whiskey 0, Tango Romeo Mike, Tom in Aurora.
Kilo 0, Romeo Charlie Whiskey, Robert in Spring, Texas, via AllStar Link. Good evening, Net and to Drone. Thanks for taking the net.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Hold up there for just a moment. Net Control would like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins: WB2 SHR Stan, N0TRP Jim, W0TRM Tom, and K0RCW Robert from Spring, Texas. Thank you so much for the kind words there. This is K1DBC Net Control. Again, if your call suffix begins with the letters P through T, Papa through Tango, please check in now. All right, next, last portion of the alphabet. If your call suffix begins with the letters U through Z, Uniform through Zulu, let me know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, U through Z, please call now.
is Kilo Echo Zero, Yankee Kilo Victor, Bill in Lakewood.
KE0YKV, Bill, I got you checked in. Thank you so much for checking in. Another reminder for anybody listening on our EchoLink repeater. Not sure if there is. I don't know if anybody's mentioned it or not. If they did, I missed it. But if you are listening on our EchoLink repeater, this is our main repeater, 145.490, linked into the EchoLink repeater 449.35. So if anybody wants to check in via that or give any sort of signal reports or anything or mention any issues, let me know and we will disconnect it or take any corrective measures as needed, but let us know. So with that, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. If you'd like to check in, just for the counter, if you have any traffic or questions, A through Z, please check in now.
Kilo Echo Zero, Oscar Sierra India, Tom Highlands Ranch, no traffic.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome the knowledge of the following check-in. KE0OSI. Tom, thank you so much for checking in. Once more, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes for the Denver Radio Club Sunday night net, general net for the Denver Radio Club. All check-ins, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We had a couple of people with traffic. I can certainly mention how I made that connection here this evening to our EchoLink repeater. But with that, we'll throw it over to Kevin Schmidt, K0KPS, Club President. The net is yours.
Thank you, Jerome, for taking the net tonight. Certainly appreciate it. And I can see that the check-ins tonight have kept you a little bit busy on the spreadsheet. I want to point out James, KF0WOL. He's a new ham, and I see that he's a teenager. So I see you got your license last month, and welcome to the hobby. And I hope we can certainly help out if you have any questions. And I want to point out to James that we do have a learning net, and it's on the 145.490 or the 448.625 repeater. And it's on Wednesday nights at 7:30 p.m. And it's on the radio. So now that you've got your license, you can certainly check in. And if you have any questions, Elmers are there standing by that can help address any questions you have. And I see that you're aspiring to go for your general license. So, James, we offer that up as a club, and you don't have to be a member to participate in that net. So I'm going to ask James, if you're still online, how did you go ahead and study for your tech? Did you do it on your own, or did you have an Elmer, or what's your story for getting your license?
F0WOL. Yeah, I'm still here. My uncle's the one who got me into ham radio. If you read my QRZ, he's the one who really got me into the hobby, because one of my earliest memories was talking on his ham radio to someone in Korea. I think it was on... I asked him, I think it was on... Oh, no. I don't remember what meter it was on, but... Or what band. But he's my Elmer. His call sign, I think, is November 8 Kilo Uniform Hotel, I think, and 8 KUH. And I brought a ham radio with me for scanning the railroad purposes, and like scanning the railroad defect detectors and such. And he said, you know, you could really get a lot more use out of that if you do what I did and you get your ham radio license. So I studied, and I studied more, and I kept studying, and then I got my technician. So I'm gonna give the repeater a few second break here. But he told me to get my license, and so I studied, and then I did. And he's been pretty much the one to answer all my questions while I was studying, and while I'm still studying to get my general. So, but yeah, he's 100% my Elmer.
Sounds good, James, and welcome to the hobby. And I will throw out that I believe Ham Radio Outlet has testing, and if Lance needs to correct me, he will, but I believe it's on the second Saturday of the month, and that's an opportunity where you can take your general test. So if that's anything different, Lance, you know, please correct me when I clear the channel for a second. Not hearing anything, I will continue on. So thanks, James, for that. And since you are a teenager, welcome to the hobby. We appreciate the youth coming in. Next, I want to bring up that there was a Hamfest yesterday up in Longmont. The Lark Fest was held. I had an opportunity to make face-to-face QSOs with a good number of our club members, you know, Jay, Kurt, and Bob. And Bob is online, and I won't throw him under the bus this week, but he will be presenting the Nano VNA on the 15th in person and hybrid. And if you can't make it to the Lakewood Police Department, you can go to our homepage, W0TX.org, and the link is there to come in on virtual and as a webinar. So that's an opportunity to see Bob NB0BN's presentation on the Nano VNA. So we certainly appreciate Bob for stepping up and doing that on not this Wednesday, but the next one on the 15th. Also, you should have gotten the Roundtable in email. If you haven't, you can check the link on W0TX, pull that up. There is some good information that's been put out there, and it's some useful reading. So let me drop the repeater for a second. As for Hamfest, I do have some bad news, and the bad news is the next Hamfest is going to be June 6th, and the bad news it's going to be in Montrose, Colorado. The next one in the Denver Metro Front Range area won't be until July 25th, which is down in Monument. So the next Hamfest for the Front Range will be in Monument on July 25th. I see Brian has traffic, so I hopefully won't be stepping on his traffic. But I want you to save the date for May 8th. May 8th is a Saturday. We are having our Denver Radio Club Saturday event. It's going to be a Parks on the Air event at Rocky Flats off of 120th near Indiana. Everybody is welcome. And if you're a technician, you can certainly get on the radio using the club license and make some HF contacts. So May 8th, and there will be more information coming out as we get closer to that event. So make sure you mark your calendar, May 8th, for a POTA activation. And then obviously in the roundtable, I did address that the ARRL Field Day will be the last weekend in June, and that's the two-day event, and we are planning as a club of having our normal field day out at Prospect Arena, which is out in Arvada area. So mark your calendar for that one also. Other than that, I don't have any information to pass along. So with that, unless there are any questions for me, or comments or criticisms, I'll take it all. I will turn it back over to Net Control. And this is Kevin, K0KPS, back to Net Control.
KFC Rep PI with a question.
Go ahead, Ron.
Good evening.
Yeah, Kevin, what date was that Montrose Hamfest?
On the ARRL.org site, if you look up a Hamfest, it's going to be on June 6th in Montrose. And you can get more information on the ARRL.org and just put in Hamfest for your search. And Colorado for the search for sites there, and it'll bring it up as the Montrose Hamfest.
All right, very good. Excellent. Thank you there, Kevin.
Okay, so this is K0KPS. Daron, I'm turning it back over to you.
Excellent. This is K1DBC Net Control. Really do appreciate all the information there. And sorry, James, KF0WL, if I was a little curt earlier. It's just starting at the net, it was a little bit crazy. My apologies. And yeah, it's awesome to see new hams in there. And yeah, excellent stuff. This is K1DBC Net Control. Again, thanks, Kevin, K0KPS, for all of that information there. I'll throw it over then to Brian, KF0AWC. The net is yours.
KF0AWC Brian. First off, I hate to do this for Kevin, but May 8th is a Friday. May 9th is the actual date of the POTA at Rocky Flats Wildlife Reserve. There's an excellent write-up on the W0TX website that under events, that if you go to that, it'll give you instructions and more details. Break for a minute.
W0T.
Second issue is the Membership Involvement Committee met on April 2nd. We had a very productive meeting, and we encourage more people to attend. So if you would like a link to, we do it all on Zoom. So if you'd like to attend that meeting, please get a hold of Pete, ABAWN, at W0TX.org, or myself, KF0AWC, at W0TX.org. That's all I have tonight. Back to drone. This is KF0AWC.
This is K1DBC Net Control, AWC. Brian, thanks for the information there. And I should have mentioned this earlier. You do have what sounds like a 60 hertz hum, a pretty wicked hum on your connection. And it seems like that I think I've heard that previously too, so I'm not too sure what's going on that. But again, if anybody needs contact KF0AWC at W0TX.org for Brian's email, and Pete Sobansky, AB8WN at W0TX.org for the Membership Involvement Committee. Again, the goal of the committee is to find, discuss, and present possible solutions to the board of directors to increase membership participation in the club. That is the committee's goal. This is K1DBC Net Control. The purpose, real quick, W0TX is a general purpose amateur radio club providing services for members of the club and the Denver area. To meet this, we need member involvement. And currently, the ability for an individual member to be involved with the club is limited. This committee looks to drive suggestions for paths of involvement, allowing for the club to provide resources to members of the Denver Radio Club. So I am reading off of a a document I believe Brian, Pete, and potentially Kelly had put together, Sabansky. But very cool stuff. Any comments or questions on that? Go right ahead. Nothing heard. This is K1DBC Net Control. We'll go ahead and give it over to Ron, KF0 FPI. The net is yours with traffic.
Yeah, good evening, Daron and everybody on the net. I just want to give a high five and congrats to the roundtable that I read this morning. It was a great issue for the month, and mainly kudos to W6 OAV, Bill Rinker, I think it was. He did excellent write-ups, or was responsible for articles on ferrite cores and mag mount versus MMO installs on vehicles. So if you haven't checked out the roundtable, you guys need to. Excellent issue. That's all I had, Daron. This is KF0 FPI.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Yeah, two volunteers who often don't get enough praise. W6OA Bill Rinker, constant contributor to our roundtable newsletter, and Brennan Pate, AD0UZ, constantly putting that out. So we can't thank them both enough for constantly putting that together. And another volunteer opportunity, pardon me. So if anybody is looking to write an article and post it into our roundtable, I'm sure they would be more than happy to accept that. So if you want to help contribute or help to put it together, I'm sure all support would be helpful. So roundtable at W0TX.org for follow-up on that. This is K1 DBC Net Control. I didn't see anybody else indicated they had any traffic or questions. Anyone else? Comments, questions, traffic, or anything? If I missed something, please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. As mentioned, we have interlinked temporarily our EchoLink repeater with this repeater. So for 9.35, our audio is coming out through there, and their audio should be coming to us. So really cool stuff. Basically, our AllStar Link repeater, this 145.490 repeater, as we mentioned, been talking about here quite a lot recently, it has an internet connection, and it basically a voice over IP type way to connect to other repeaters that have similar qualities. So EchoLink, AllStar Link are essentially just voice over IP, just telephony type services, competing, but essentially at their core, pretty much the same. Our main repeater should be able to do this natively on its own. I don't think it's set up to do so right now. I think Skylar Fennell, W0SKY, I believe, of the Sky Hub, I think he set this up for us quite some time back. I think it's running on a Linux type machine, probably a Raspberry Pi. We should have remote access into it via either a website or a command line. So once we regain access, we should be able to do that natively. But what I did this evening was I basically connected our repeater into my personal AllStar Link node 68834, and then I connected my AllStar Link node, which does have that capability, to our EchoLink node 4041, and so all audio is now being passed back and forth through that connection. So it's actually not as complicated as you might think. I say that, but I've been working on it quite a lot here recently. So at the beginning of the net, you heard me key up a whole bunch of tones. Just to quickly explain those, I dialed *3 for the AllStar link connection command, and then I dialed my node 68834. So that's when you heard that connection was made. Once there, it took a couple of attempts, but I used a command to essentially break through. For DTMF purposes, I entered *40, and that's when you heard maybe a command that said "by your command." I forget exactly what it's saying, but that essentially allowed me to enter DTMF tones directly on my node instead of on the our main repeater node. So I did that, and then from there I connected into. I did another *3, and then the number 300 and 4140. Which made the final connection into the EchoLink repeater. So quite of a lengthy process. Hopefully once we get our repeater working, or the EchoLink part of this main 145 repeater working, we shouldn't have to do all of that, and it should be easier for anyone as net control to do that. So I'll have to do the reverse process to disconnect it at the end of the net. Yeah, if anybody has any comments or questions on that, you can follow along with allstarlink.org. You can look up nodes. You can look up our node on stats.allstarlink.org 42851. You can see who's connected there, and then you can click on my node, and it'll go to mine, and you can see that connection being made there. With that, any comments, questions, anything else on that, or anything else, please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, stick around to the end. This week we'll play the most recent version of the AR Newsline, the Amateur Radio Newsline. So another about 14 minutes of that at the end of the net. Stick around if you like. And after that, the repeaters will be available for regular use after that. So with that, though, any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's net, please call now.
KD0 CGF with a comment.
Yeah, Kenny, great to hear you in there. KD0 CGF. The net is yours.
The other day, I was on the DRC website looking up our repeaters, getting ready to program a code plug for the Anytone handheld. And I did notice the online feed, and I do remember you bringing it up before on the Learning Net, the live feed for our repeater. I clicked on it, and it didn't load for me, but that's probably because of my network, the way it's set up. But I thought that was really cool, and I wanted to say that was really nice, and great work with that. Thank you. This is KD0 CGF, back to net.
This is K1DBC Net Control. I think that was our VE team lead, K0RAP, I think, had set that up. I don't think it's working anymore. It was working a year or so ago. I think I'll need to take those links down. My apologies about that. So sorry for bringing your hopes up there, but I don't think it is working. So Kenny was mentioning on our repeaters page, there is a listen live for a couple of our repeaters, and I don't believe those work anymore. My apologies on that. So if anybody is interested in picking up the torch on that, essentially a Broadcastify feed, or if you nudge our team lead, RAP Robert Pickett, or I guess don't. Please don't. I can't remember if it was him or not. But if anybody wants to pick up the torch for setting up Broadcastify feeds for our repeaters, please do feel free to do so on your own. You can set up a Raspberry Pi and software-defined radio, and if you have the availability to do so, please let us know, and we'll replace the links on our repeater page. This is K1DBC Net Control. Anyone else on that, or any other comments or questions, go right ahead.
Thank you for choosing not to smoke. Your consideration helps keep the air clean and comfortable for everyone. By avoiding smoking, you are helping to create a safer and more pleasant environment for those around you. We truly appreciate your support in...
Sorry, this is a K1 DBC Net Control. I had brought up the Broadcastify feed and started playing an ad. There was some audio coming through. I had no idea where it was coming through, and I just thank the Lord it wasn't over the repeater, but it was just an ad. This is a K1 DBC Net Control. Comments, questions, check-ins. We'll probably start to wrap the net up, though. Anyone else, please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, if you do set up a Broadcastify feed, broadcastify.com, if you do send them audio, they provide you a free premium account. So there is an incentive, not just for being a helpful person to the club, but if you want a free premium subscription to Broadcastify. The same goes with if you do ADSB, which is plain signals. If you set up an ADSB feeder for certain websites, using the similar type setup with the Raspberry Pi and software-defined radio, you'll also get premium subscriptions to some of those websites as well. So there are incentives to doing that. So again, broadcastify.com, you can listen to quite a lot of repeaters. Ours, again, used to be on there. I don't think that they are live anymore on there. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? We'll probably start to wrap the net up, though. Comments, questions, check-ins, please call now. All right, so the AR Amateur Radio Newsline report for 2527 for April 3rd will play just after the net here, so stick around for that if you'd like. With that, let's get back to the script here. I need to put it in the script because I keep forgetting. We are looking for net control operators. We are looking for net control operators for the Sunday night net, this net here, as well as our Wednesday night learning net. Fourth Wednesdays of the month, we have our board of directors meeting, and as a board member, I attend that. So off and on for the next couple of months, that the fourth Wednesday of the month, there may or may not be a learning net, just in case. Just be aware of that. Can't thank enough, though, W0TRP Jim for being able to take that net for as long as he has. There's just some conflicting things coming up for him. So if anybody's interested, we have net scripts for both of our nets, Sunday night net and Wednesday night net. So, and a check-in tool, again, W0TX.org/check-in. We will give you editor access to that. It's a spreadsheet. You put in a call sign, and it populates all the information that you need. So it makes the check-in process much more streamlined than without it. So if anybody's interested, get a hold of us, net@W0TX.org, K1DBC@W0TX.org. Plenty of information, W0TX.org/officers. Lots of contact, email addresses, and phone numbers. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Let's see. This is the Denver Radio Club Net W0TX, and this is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie, your net control station. Does anyone have any other comments, information, or business for the net? Please call now. Are there any late check-ins? Please call now. Information about upcoming contests can be found at contestcalendar.com and arrl.org/contest-calendar. Two other reminders: the High Noon meets daily, 12 p.m. noon. on 7.240 megahertz, and the Salvation Army Satternet meets at 1500 Zulu Monday through Saturday, 14.625 megahertz. For more information on the club repeaters, you can visit W0TX.org/repeaters for the 10 repeaters that we have. Quite a few analog repeaters, but internet connected, and a couple of digital repeaters, C4FM and a DMR Brandmeister repeater. And we have packet and all sorts of things here. So again, W0TX.org/repeaters. I would like to thank everyone for checking in to the Denver Radio Club Net tonight. Your support is greatly appreciated. I hope you all have a great week. Again, we'll play the AR Newsline just after the net here, so about 14 minutes. So again, over, pardon me. So over this main repeater, 145.490, and our EchoLink repeater, for anybody who is listening over on the EchoLink repeater, 449.35, again, for the next 15 minutes after the net ends, the AR Newsline will play and then disconnect, and I will then disconnect all the interconnections between the EchoLink and our main repeater.
0TX repeater.
So that's 7-3. Tonight we had a total of 21 check-ins. Can't thank enough everyone for checking in. The Denver Radio Club W0TX is now closed at 9:21 p.m. Mountain Time. And again, in about 15 minutes, the repeater will be available for regular use. This is K1DBC, your net control station.
Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2527 with a release date of Friday, April 3rd, 2026 to follow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The following is a QST. Hams head toward the moon. The Azores gets its first 10-meter repeater, and Newsline's April Fool's correspondent, Pierre Pullenmaleg, is back with some big news. Or not. All this and more as Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2527 comes your way right now.
From around the world, this is Newsline, Amateur Radio's independent, on-the-air news and bulletin service. Now, reporting from Jonesboro, Arkansas, here's Skeeter Nash, N5ASH.
Our top story takes us into space, specifically looking toward the moon. Delayed weeks ago due to technical issues, NASA's Artemis II mission lifted off from Florida's Kennedy Space Center on the 1st of April, carrying a crew of 4 astronauts, 3 of whom have amateur radio licenses. Astronauts Reed Wiseman, KF5LKT, Victor Glover, KI5BKC, Jeremy Hansen, KF5LKU, and Christina Koch now embark on a test flight that will pave the way for an eventual return of a human presence on the moon. Meanwhile, 4 amateur radio operators here on Earth are among the group of 34 volunteers chosen by NASA to track transmissions from the Orion spacecraft during its 10-day journey. An amateur radio operator is being called the source of radio interference that affected emergency service frequencies in one part of Pennsylvania last year, according to the Federal Communications Commission. Kent Peterson, KC0DGY, picks up the story from here.
The FCC Enforcement Bureau has charged a ham radio operator in Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, with interfering with UHF frequencies used by 911 emergency services. The FCC identified the ham as David Knutson, KD3ASC. According to the agency, the Pittsburgh Amateur was transmitting on 470.4375 megahertz from a handheld transceiver last July, prompting a complaint from the county's emergency services that there was interference on its dispatch channel. Using direction finding, the Bureau's enforcement agents tracked the signal to Knutson's home, where they said he showed them a Bofang BT Tech UV Pro HT, which he surrendered to them. The handheld radio is capable of transmitting on VHF and UHF amateur radio bands, as well as private land mobile radio bands. The FCC said that the radio had been programmed to monitor the EMS channel and that the audio relay was enabled, permitting traffic from one channel to be retransmitted on another. The FCC notice is dated March 25th. Knutson must respond to the Enforcement Bureau within 10 days of that date. This is Kent Peterson, KC0DGY.
The next set of images to be transmitted from the International Space Station via SSTV will mark a number of high-profile moments in space. Watch for them this month. Jack Parker, W0TX, tells us what a few of them are.
The 65th anniversary of the first human spaceflight by cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin. The 45th anniversary of the first liquid-propelled rocket launch by Robert Goddard. These are three of the several space achievements being commemorated by amateur radio on the International Space Station through its selection of images to be transmitted as part of SSTV Series 31. The SSTV mode will be Robot 36, and there will be 2 minutes between transmissions. Transmissions will begin on the 10th of April and continue through the 14th of April. The frequency will be 437.55 plus or minus Doppler shift. This is Jack Parker, W0TX.
Amateur Radio Association, CU2ARA, is marking an important anniversary this year with the installation of its first 10-meter repeater. The group says its presence in the North Atlantic holds great promise for contacts between hams in Europe and North America. Dave Lee, M7TLB, tells us more.
On São Miguel Island, the largest island in the Azores off the coast of Portugal, a new 10-meter FM repeater stands ready for QSOs. This is the first 10-meter repeater for the association, which is marking the 50th year since its founding. The 50-watt repeater transmits on 29.630 megahertz with a -100 kilohertz shift, giving it a receive frequency of 29.530 megahertz. It has a CTCSS tone of 88.5 hertz. Bruno, CS8ABG, told Newsline that challenges in installation prompted the group to install the receiver and transmitter separately. The transmitter is located in the center of the island, and the receiver is about 20 kilometers away on the western side. Both are at an altitude of 900 meters. The sites are connected using 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi links. The site holds promise for other connections too, according to Bruno. There's a Raspberry Pi system with a private AllStar link connection that may someday provide a link to the group's VHF repeaters that are part of the Azores AllStar link network. Bruno told Newsline that the east-west radiation pattern of the dipoles favor propagation between Europe and North America, so DXs, of course, are very welcome. This is Dave Lee, M7TLB.
Another 10-meter repeater, this one in Ireland, is getting a huge welcome back from amateurs. It is back on the air and is expected to be very busy, as we hear from Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
The repeater in Clondonagh, County Donegal, EI0IPG, is no longer silent. Storms had taken the nation's only 10-meter repeater out of service until recently. According to a report by the Irish Radio Transmitter Society, the repeater, maintained by the Clondonagh Amateur Radio Club, is receiving an especially hearty welcome among experimenters because an increase in solar activity promises a greater likelihood of transatlantic and continental FM communication. Its frequencies are 29.580 MHz input 29.680 MHz output with a 67 Hz CTC SS tone. The repeater also offers access via EchoLink node 29007. This is Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
Although the liveliest daytime action will likely be at the Greene County Fairgrounds in Xenia, Ohio in May, that Hamvention epicenter isn't the only big draw for visiting amateurs that weekend. Cell MB's KD3TZD tells us about another Hamvention weekend tradition.
The National Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting is welcoming Hamvention guests by offering extended hours from Thursday, May 14th through Sunday, May 17th. The museum and the Westchester Amateur Radio Association, which is headquartered there, will be sharing a wide variety of exhibits that include a disc jockey's setup from a vintage radio station, vintage ham and shortwave equipment, and the Voice of America's first transmitter dating from 1942. The club's ham radio station, WC8VOA, will be sharing access to its shack, so come with your license and be prepared to get on the air. Admission is $10 at the door. For each day's extended hours and for directions on how to find the museum from Xenia, visit the website voamuseum.org or wc8voa.org. The independent nonprofit museum in Westchester, Ohio, is not affiliated with the U.S. government's Voice of America service. This is Cell MB, KB3, TZD.
Time for you to identify your station. We are the Amateur Radio Newsline, heard on bulletin stations around the world, including the CQ0UARS and CQ0EARS repeaters in Aveiro, Portugal, on Saturdays and Sundays at noon local time. Regulations in Norway include the creation of an entry-level license. Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, has the details.
The Norwegian Communications Authority has approved an entry-level license for amateurs in that country as one of several changes taking effect. The entry-level or limited 10-watt license covers the 80, 40, 20, 17, 15, 10, 6 and 2 meter bands, as well as the 70 centimeters band. Another change includes the removal of limitations to hams wishing to operate stations remotely, especially in Norway's overseas territories. The changes also affect the 23 cents band, which will now follow IARU recommendations more directly. This is Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
Already been a big year for YLs to scale to new heights. First, there was the WWA-YL Award that united women radio operators calling CQ from around the world in March. Next up is the third annual Queens of the Mountains, a special Summits on the Air weekend event. There is some added incentive this year for chasers, as we hear from Travis Lisk, N3ILS.
Activators in the third annual Queens of the Mountains YL Soda Special Event will be competing for the same certificates as before. But this year, chasers are getting a new chance for recognition. The new award is designed for chasers who contact at least 3 YL activators in different countries or different U.S. states. This is the second year the activity has drawn global participation, so once again, YL to YL DX QSOs will be recognized with a WWW Worldwide Women's Certificate. The organizers, Amy AG7GP and Paula K9IR, announced the event's return on the Soda Reflector and have set the event to start at 0000 UTC on June 13th and end at 2359 UTC on June 14th. This is Travis Lisk, N3ILS.
remind our listeners that we are accepting nominations for Amateur Radio Newsline's Bill Pasternak WA6ITF Memorial Young Ham of the Year Award for 2026. If you know a talented, involved, and active licensed radio operator who is 18 years of age or younger and is a resident of the continental United States, please submit his or her name for consideration. You'll find a nomination form under the Awards tab of our website, arnewsline.org. Send in documentation supporting your nominee and get it to us by the May 31st deadline. This year's winner will be joining a very distinguished group of young amateurs who have continued to make a difference in the world of ham radio and their communities. In the world of DX, you have until the 10th of April to work Bernard, DL2GAC, using the call sign H44MS from Maleta Island in the Solomon Islands, IOTA number OC047. He has been spotted doing FT8 and SSB. Special call signs DA0ANT, DM50ANT, and DP50ANT are on the air celebrating a half-century of German research in Antarctica until the 30th of April. Listen as well for DM50GFS, marking the 50th anniversary of the now decommissioned XGDR George Forster Station, and DP200GVN for the 200-year anniversary of the birth of George von Neumeier, after whom West Germany's Antarctic research stations have been named. Listen for Takei JG8NQJ/JD1, operating until the middle of May from the weather station on Minami Torishima, IOTA number OC073. He is using mostly CW with some FT8. JSEC SP5APW will be active as 3D2JK from Lakeba Island, IOTA number OC095, from the 17th through to the 22nd of April. He will be using FT8 and SSB on 20 through 10 meters. He will also be on 6 meters using mainly FT8. April 1st has come and gone, but Newsline's own Pierre Pullenmaleg is here once again. He's the only member of our team of correspondents who works one day a year on April Fool's Day. Pierre, you're no fool. What news do you have for us this year?
Responding to pressure from a dozen American symphony orchestras and a group of internationally celebrated virtuosos, the FCC is setting aside a part of the 20-meter band to let the licensed amateur radio operators play their violins, flutes, bassoons, and other instruments, or to sing as the opera. In fact, opera singing hams looking for DX contacts will be encouraged to call a QRZ by singing compositions by Mozart, Verdi, or Strauss. To prepare for these repurposed frequencies, the FCC will now require music recitals to be included in DE sessions. After completing the written part of the test, each candidate must present a 10-minute performance on the instrument of their choice, or they may sing. Starting in June, all FCC licensed preparation classes will include 6 months of music lessons. Knowing your harmonics is, after all, mes amis, so very important. Oui? But no drummers are welcome on this new portion of 20 meters. Percussion instruments will be sent to the CW portion. Already, mes amis, there have been protests from some amateur radio clubs around the U.S. who are asking why violinists and opera singers are being allowed on the 20-meter band, but no rock and rollers, no banjo players, and not even a single hip
artists. The FCC has taken up the question and is reportedly considering part of the 2-meter band next, or perhaps 7,200. This is Pierre pulling my leg with a song in my heart, mes amis, and on the radio too. Oui?
With thanks to Amateur Radio Daily, AMSAT News, Eris, Bruno, CS8ABG, David Behar, K7DB, FCC, 425DX News, Paulo, CU2CO, QRZ.com Forums, Radio World, Radio Society of Great Britain, ShortwaveRadio.de, Space News, Soda Reflector, Voice of America Museum, Wireless Institute of Australia, and you, our listeners. That's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline. We remind our listeners that Amateur Radio Newsline is an all-volunteer, non-profit organization that incurs expenses for its continued operation. If you wish to support us, please visit our website at arnewsline.org and know that we appreciate you all. We also remind our listeners that if you like our newscast, please leave us a 5-star rating wherever you subscribe to us. In New York and our news team worldwide, I'm Skeeter Nash, N5ASH in Jonesboro, Arkansas, saying 7-3. As always, we thank you for listening. Amateur Radio Newsline is copyright 2026. Amateur Radio Newsline retains ownership of its material, even when retransmitted elsewhere. All rights are reserved.
Information about this amateur radio, voice over IP audio news service is on the web at newsline.rfnet.link.
This is K1DBC. I'll go ahead and disconnect our EchoLink repeater.
Node 68834 disconnected.
This is K1DBC. The Denver Radio Club repeaters are now available for regular use. 7-3, I will be clear. The EchoLink repeater 449.350 is now available for regular use.